Alright guys, welcome to the second episode of Road to Runeterra Mastery. Uh what I do in this series is I take my stream for the day, which is usually like around 4 hours long, and I go through it and I just go through the key parts where I had to make tough decisions or where I fucked up, and I just play those through because I feel like those are the most valuable learning experiences, those little tiny moments. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this first one here, as you can see, so I have, I basically have a keg up and I have a whale here in my hand, and so, the mistake here is I attack, and I really didn't need to because what ends up happening here is that I end up just, the, my, the, this, I don't know, this one's a little hard to explain, but the thing is I should have waited until next turn because I could whale next turn, that would give me another point of damage. There's just no reason to attack now. Like there's just no reason at all. So that was like the kind of thing that I did there. So this right here is okay. So I'm playing as Ezreal Draven, and I really need. Okay, I'm gonna pause this right here real quick. So what I really need to do here is, if you'll see, I have 5 Nexus health, and he has full mana and a full board, and so what I need to do is I need to end the game as quickly as possible. I already have Pack Your Bags. I have 3 copies of Pack Your Bags. And what I decided to do here is I decided to red card, which is really, really dumb. Because my thought process here was I wanted to get his Nexus down by 1, so it would put it out. If he was at 11 Nexus, it would put him in Ledros plus Pack Your Bags kill range. But the problem with that line of thinking is he has 13 mana up. I have 5. He has Captain Farron in this deck, which you'll see he plays, and that basically just ends the game for me. There's no way I'm going to be able to survive, a Captain Farron plus 3 Decimates with 5 Nexus health. And so I actually have to win the game this turn, but I don't realize this. So the correct move here would have actually been to blue card. I could have probably drawn something else. I could have played something else. I could have played Pack Your Bags. I could have potentially gotten, I mean, it's so unlikely I'm going to win either way, but I would have gotten a potential kill off. This right here is actually, it's kind of a small little fuck up, but you see, the fuck up is I cast Go Hard this turn. And normally, you want to cast Go Hard as soon as you can because it increases your chances of drawing more. But what is, you can't tell in the situation is my TF is actually getting ready to level next turn. It is going to level, I'm going to be able to level it on the spot with Salvage next turn. And the thing that you can also often forget with Twisted Fate is, I mean, to go through all of his cards, red, blue, gold, you actually have to be able to have enough mana to play 3 of your cards. And so it was actually a mistake to play the Go Hard last turn because that was an extra card I could have played. It could have actually let me cycle through all of his cards. I'm pretty sure I actually think I was still able to, because I ended up drawing a second Elise and a Butcher. And so I was still able to cycle through his cards, but the higher percentage play would have been to go hard initially, or to save my go hard, because, I mean, I guess it is debatable. I'm not 100% sure because I do want to cycle more go hards in my deck. But I think it would have been a smarter play to have saved the go hard, so I would have had something cheap that I could play the next turn, so I could guarantee get TF 3 cards in after I leveled TF with the mana I had left. So the mistake I make here is I decided not to develop my deckhand into my attack. I'm playing its discard aggro. And the reason I didn't was because I was thinking, what if he plays Draven? He could block into it, and it'd survive, and I would just be down a unit. But the thing is, that's a smart player with discard aggro is never going to do that because, for one, I mean, I could have Go Hard, I could kill his Draven, and he's never going to block anything anyway because, I mean, in most cases, because he wants a big board. Like, that's, like, his strength is in his board because of crowd favorites, because of cards like Arena Battlecaster. So the better play there would have just been to play with the deckhand and attack with it. Now, this play here is really just a sad, I mean, this isn't even like a strategic, this is like just an actual honest fuck up here. So I'm casting Whale, and I'm considering casting Glimpse, but at the last second, I think, oh no, I don't want to cast Glimpse, I'm going to pull it off the stack. But I pull off Whale off the stack instead of Glimpse. And this actually ended up costing me the game because I just a simple fuck up. But be careful. Think about what you're doing. Well, it's my turn to attack on turn 3, and I'm playing against Fiora Shin, and I decided to just open attack instead of developing with my deckhand. And I think that was a bad move. I mean, it is debatable because the reason why you would want to open attack is because if you just open attack, then Fiora, you don't have to worry about Fiora. But the thing is, if they do play Fiora, for one, they might not even have Fiora. And if they do play Fiora, basically they would have to have two cards in their hand to make open attack, to make developing, to punish you for developing. They would have to have a Fiora, and they would also have to have a Sharp Sight. Because that's the only, because otherwise, if they block one of my units, they could die to a Go Hard. So it's very unlikely they would risk doing that. And so it is kind of a tough situation, but I think the odds there are in favor of developing. Because and probably still attacking, even if they do play Fiora. Because I mean, they could have Sharp Sight, but I don't know. I think that's a gamble to take. I think the statistical odds would be to develop into that attack there. This here is actually just like a very ballsy. This is actually just what I was talking about in the last example. But I basically attacked here, even though he has Draven, because I assumed. I mean, I didn't think he would block into this because, I mean, if I have Go Hard, then his Draven just dies here, and it seems kind of crazy that he would block into this, but he actually did. Which it worked out for me because I didn't have Go Hard, but a pretty ballsy play, I have to say. Because I don't know, like I think the odds, especially since I did attack there, like the odds that I would have Go Hard are pretty high. So pretty kind of shocking play that he made there. So here I make the mistake of he's just played a Captain Farron and he has 3 Decimates, and I have a Ledros in my hand, and the mistake is I play the Ledros because now I'm essentially dead because he has 3 Decimates in hand, and I have 10 Nexus health, right? And so my reasoning, my thinking behind this was if he doesn't have any way to stop Ledros, or he doesn't have a fearsome blocker, I would have won. And so I don't know, maybe it could have been right. That actually could have been the best move. This is an interesting point because I'm not quite sure here, because obviously I do end up losing here because he had Draven and he was able to play a Decimate, and then he played his other Decimates the next turn, and I had no way to stop him. But my only other option was, instead of playing Ledros, I could have played this Glimpse Beyond on earlier, and I could have potentially drawn in to something more. I could have drawn into maybe some healing. Or I guess healing would be the only way I would win. I could have drawn into healing. Or I actually could have potentially drawn into Pack Your Bags, I think. I can't remember how far I was, but as you can see, I do have a Go Hard in my hand. And so I could have Go Harded and then glimpsed to try and draw more, because he only has 5 health here. And I actually think that would have been a much higher likelihood of, it would have been a much higher likelihood of winning than me playing Ledros right there. So there you go. So this is an interesting one. So I'm playing against a Plaza deck. I believe this was a Garen Assault deck, and I have the attack token on turn 3. He plays Plaza there, and I just skipped it. I didn't develop anything in attack, and I later ended up regretting this because I really needed to punish him there because I just let him play Plaza for free. I didn't get any. It's important with the Go Hard deck. You do want to get chip damage early because it really helps. It goes a long way towards the end. And I didn't get that there because I didn't want to play the Doom Beast or the Croaker, because if I just played them out right there, I wouldn't have got their effects. But what I should have done is I should have played the Doom Beast on turn 3. I would have played the Doom Beast instead of the Croaker because, one, it would have been more damage, and the draw in this matchup is more important than the healing I would get from the Doom Beast. And so that was my mistake. What happens here is my TF's getting ready to level. So I just drew 4 cards here. And it's literally 1 card away from leveling. But the key thing is I have to consider, what removal does my opponent have? Like, how could they stop this TF from leveling? And the one way they could do that is with single combat. Now, it's my action. So if I had actually played Zap Sprayfin, this Zap down here first, I could have. It wouldn't matter if you use single combat because as soon as I play Zap, TF is instantly going to level. It's just one draw away. But I screwed up here by playing Go Hard first, and he didn't have single combat, so I didn't get punished. But if he had, I would have gotten punished, and I would have felt really bad. That would have been a really bad way to lose a TF level up. Oh, sorry. Actually, I did mess up one thing. It's not just one draw away. It's 3 draws away from leveling. But the thing is, if I had played Zap first, I would have immediately drawn 1. And if he had single combated, I could play Glimpse in response. I could Glimpse the Zap. And so my TF would level before it got killed with single combat. So this is a pretty simple case of I forgot about Zoe. It's not any more complicated than that. I just literally forgot to even check about Zoe's level up. I was not looking at how many out of 10 it had at all. And in a Zoe Lee Sin deck, Zoe level up is pretty much, it's kind of like a TF level up for us, but even for the Go Hard deck, but even more so. I mean, it's very hard to come back from this because, especially when they have Eye active, because it's basically granting lifesteal to everything. And it's just super hard to kill them when literally everything on their board has lifesteal. So don't forget about Zoe's level up. This is another pretty key play here. So I actually, as you see, he blocked the Eye he blocked the Butcher with Eye, and even though he has a bunch of gems here that would normally save him from me draining 1 from his Eye, since he attacked, I was able to play it at the exact moment when he was attacking Butcher, so he couldn't play the gem in response, and I was able to kill his Eye like that. What you hear wrong is, as you can see, this is actually turn. I don't remember what turn this is, but the key point here is he just played Priestess this turn, okay? And the thing to always be wary about in the Priestess, especially when you look at his Nexus health, it's low, it's at 9, is that he could have gotten the Golden Sister, which he clearly did here. And so I'm pretty much forced to Ruinate this Golden Sister, but the problem with that is that I developed last turn. I developed my Doom Beast, and so I was kind of left out in the cold here because I was only able to. I mean, I basically just like sacrificed my Doom Beast for nothing. I could have played it next turn. I wouldn't have had to just play this Croaker here. And so, yeah. So always just keep in mind when you're gonna, if you're gonna need to Ruinate, like in that situation, always remember, the Priestess can get that the lifesteal thing, and you're gonna need a way to kill it. Because I was not thinking about that the turn before. I was not thinking that I would need to Ruinate. I wasn't thinking about the lifesteal, unit. And so always think about, like, if you are gonna have to Ruinate, or if it's likely you're gonna have to Ruinate, then maybe don't develop the turn before. So this here isn't as much of a mistake as it is just kind of like in this specific situation, as it is just like a general mistake I was making when playing against Draven Ezreal all day. So you see I pass here. Like, I just basically forfeit the turn because I was kind of playing this deck as... So originally when I first started playing against Ezreal Draven... when I first started playing against Ezreal Draven with Go Hard, I was losing a lot because I wasn't playing very defensively at all. And the key thing with this deck is the idea, the concept behind the Ezreal Draven deck is they get you down early with chip damage and they finish you off with Ezreal and Captain Farron. And so if you're not playing defensively enough, you're going to take too much chip damage and you're not going to be able to heal up to survive a Captain Farron and 3 decimates. But I started to play the complete opposite way, where I would play super defensively. And it actually lost me quite a few games today against Ezreal Draven, because there is an opposite problem that you can run into if you go the other route and you play too defensively. Is that if you play too defensively and you don't try to develop your go hards, like that turn, I literally just skipped the whole turn. Because that's what I would do if I was playing against like an aggro deck, like discard aggro or pirate aggro, because in those situations it doesn't matter if you get your go hard, like you just want to save your TF to stun their board, because there's no if you can basically destroy all their board and their key units, there's no way they're gonna win. But that's not the case with Draven and Ezreal. You actually, like, there is kind of a middle ground where you don't want to focus too much on getting the go hards because and not play defensively, because like you do need to stop their early chip damage, but you also like you do need to speed up. You need to put some amount of pressure on them, because if you don't, like eventually they're just going to draw into double Farron or Farron, and they're going to get a leveled up Ezreal to stick. And at that point, they're going to be doing so much damage to your Nexus that you're not going to be able to heal back up. So you have to put more, like it is a balancing act between, yes, you need to play defensively so they don't get too much chip damage on you, but you also have to play sort of proactively, because you want to because you need to be able to put pressure on them. So because if the game goes on too long, eventually they will just like outburn you. So that was my lesson for today, and that's actually the last one for this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and let me know if you have any fucking comments, suggestions, anything you'd like to know more about, fucking anything. Like, let me know. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.